Hi there. You only need 3 accounts for you to build wealth. Not 10, not 20, just 3 accounts. And if you are able to have these 3 accounts and also be disciplined to execute, be sure you'll be able to build wealth. So watch the whole of this video for you to absorb this knowledge I'm about to share with you. You are all much welcome. My name is Afagza Sifuna. By the way, data out here is very interesting because it shows us we have a very huge gap between finance access and people being disciplined so that they can be able to be financially stable. And I'm saying so because the Financial Access Survey of 2024 showed that 84.8% of Kenyan adults have access to finances and financial system. Basically put, they have M-Pesa, they have bank accounts and can also access credit. Despite that access of 84.8%, it is only 18.3% of adults who are financially stable. So where do we have a gap? Majority of the adults can access money and also financial system and tools, yet only a small percentage are financially stable. It is because they haven't put in place structure for them to be able to build wealth. Having said that, these are the only 3 accounts which you need. The first account is your spending account. The second account is your saving account. And then the third account is your investing account. I'm going to discuss these individual accounts extensively so that you can be able to appreciate. And for this, let's work with 100% is the money you have, whether it is net income from your salary, whether it is money you are getting from different sources, okay? Let's work with 100%, which is 100k Kenya shillings, right? I want us to distribute this money to the 3 accounts in a proportion of 50% goes to your spending account, okay? And then 20% goes to your saving account and 30% goes to your investment account. And I'm saying so because the biggest trap which most people face out here is what is called spending. And that's why I'm starting with the spending account. Globally, people spend about 60% of their income on their fixed costs. Basically put, rent, food, clothing, transport, all those things that they need for them to continue working and continue living, right? In Kenya, the situation is very different because in Kenya, on average, we spend upwards of 70% of the money we make on spending. And that's why I've intentionally said, why don't you put this at about 50%? In case it's very stringent on you, maybe push the puzzle to about 60%. But for this video, let's work with 50%. For example, you are earning 100k. 50% of 100k is 50,000. Can you sit and think how you can fit all your fixed costs in 50k? I'm talking about rent, I'm talking about your food, I'm talking about your transport, the little money you want, for example, to buy clothes, etc. Can you fit all those in 50k only, which is 50% of your income? And of course, this amount of money, you're gonna access it easily through your checking account. Case in point, you are working, you are paid a salary. Of course, it's gonna hit your checking account if it's a salary account or a current account, right? Once it hits your account, you have the liberty of utilizing 50% on your fixed costs. And then you don't need to stay with the money which remains. That is where most people mess. Because that money, if you leave it that account, you're gonna use all of it. Because that account, which is a checking account, is basically a transit account. And that is why you need to have separate accounts for savings and also investment opportunities. So have 3 accounts. Your checking account could be your spending account because it is a transit account, right? But then again, 50% of that money push to savings and investment. Now let's go to the second account, which is saving account. Saving account is very, very important. And I'm saying so because in this video, I'm proposing we can probably allocate 20% of our net income to savings, right? After we've allocated 50% on spending, 20% can go to saving. And I'm saying so because saving is very critical, more so when it comes to emergencies. Look at it this way. Your saving account is basically your protection account. In case something happens, you need to have built a good saving account. Case in point, you lose your job. Case in point, you need money maybe to fix something which has broken. Case in point, maybe you have some medical bill you need to pay. You need to have money in your saving account. And think about saving account in two ways. In there, you have your emergency fund in case you need to cater for your fixed costs. And also, you are building emergency fund for other eventuality, like for example, sickness, etc. So I'm basically saying you need to target a sweet spot of somewhere between 3 months to 6 months worth of income into your savings account. And that is why you could think about utilizing a standing order. As your income or money comes into your checking account, which is the 100%, have a standing order whereby 20% is automatically pushed by the banking system to your savings account. And then the other 30% is pushed to your investment account, which I'm going to talk about. By the way, statistics are very interesting because statistics show that in Kenya, 33% of people do saving of their money for their daily, day-to-day needs, basically their usage. And then only 27% do save money for emergencies. That tells you a majority of Kenyan adults do not save at all. That is why you need to develop this discipline, because you are one event away from you wallowing back into poverty. Yes, you could be working, but what will happen in case your work stops? Will you continue leading the same lifestyle in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months after you've lost your job? Chances are you won't be able to do that. That's why you need to start building that saving account while you are still earning, while you are still getting an income, and have the discipline of pushing 20% to that saving account so as you can be able to build a kitty whereby you can survive comfortably for upwards of 6 months as you think about what next in case of an emergency. And then the third account, which I've talked about, is your investment account. Investment is something interesting because for most people out there, investment is vague. They think that investment, you need to have big amounts of money for you to invest. That is a big misconception, because the truth is that investing is a habit. You need to start developing that habit today. Don't procrastinate, for example, saying, I'm going to open a CDS account and start partaking in Nairobi Securities Exchange next year. I'm going to start buying rates next year. I'm going to start investing in government bonds maybe in 2 years' time. Fair enough. You can have your own timeline, but then again, the world has a way of rewarding those people who take the necessary step. Those people who are investing are the ones who are benefiting from the power of compounding. Basically, their money increasing and starting to increase exponentially because of accumulated benefits, whether it is interest or dividends. And also, it is those people who are investing who are able to have their money work for them. Because when you invest in a given company out there, you are basically giving that company your money to utilize for business and then pay you something on top of your principal investment. That is why one of the core corporate governance responsibility of management out there is to increase shareholders' value. That's why you see, for example, companies pay dividends. At the end, these are paid to shareholders because they own part of that company. And don't sit there saying, for example, you are surviving in a stringent way. Out here, people are investing not because they have a lot of money. They are investing because they want their wealth to grow. They want to build that wealth over time. You can only do that by taking the necessary step, starting with having a dedicated account for investing. If you have your money held in your checking account, which is a transit account, chances are you'll end up wasting all that money. But if you have a standing order where some of the money is going to an investment account and you are disciplined to put your money in investments, be sure whichever investment you jump into is going to give you a return over time. Case in point, let's look at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The average growth in the Nairobi Securities Exchange over the past 5-6 years has been 63%. basically said, if for example, you put 1 million in the Nairobi Securities Exchange sometime in 2020, right now your money could be almost 1.7 million. And note please, I'm using the Nairobi Securities Exchange Index. I'm not using the individual shares. There are some shares, for example, even which have tripled, doubled, you name it. This shows you that you investing is going to give you a return on average. And you don't just need to invest, for example, in the stock market. There is a myriad of investments out there. Case in point, the government bonds through the treasury bills, right? You can put your money, for example, in the MMF, right? You can put your money, for example, in SACCO deposits. In case you have good amount of money, you can even put your money in real estate by building rental for you to be able to get a rental income. You do anything you can with whichever amount of money you can start with. If you have 1K, start with that. If you have 10K, start with that. If you can unlock 100K each and every month, you unlock this money and put it to investments, because you investing is what is going to ensure you build wealth and also you enjoy your money in future. Guys, what do you think about this video? Do you think these are the only 3 accounts which you need for you to be able to become wealthy? Share with us in the comment section down below. But I hope you've gotten a thing or two from this video. Cheers, guys. Look forward to share with you other amazing videos next time. Bye-bye.